show. Thanks for staying with us. Time to talk about Gaelic footy. I know that's not that as big as some people think. Obviously, in Ireland it's massive. We talk about the old Australia versus Ireland Gaelic footy, but we had a big win here. St Brennan's, too good for Western Ireland. Andrew Milson, Craig Bevan, good enough to join us. Firstly, congratulations, boys.
Thanks, gents.
Thank you. Yep. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Gaelic footy here. You played Western Ireland in the finals. How many times would you play them during the season?
We'll probably play them, depending on schedule, 2 to 3 times during the regular season, and it's a top 4, so there's a good chance you might meet them once or twice in the finals.
All right, but you had to beat them in a close one, a one-pointer to get into the grand final?
Yeah, so it was 1 versus 2 is the first final, and the winner got in the grand final. We beat them by a point in extra time, so it was a long game, long night.
What was the difference going into the grand final then? Because you beat them comfortable. Well, we'll call the goal comfortable.
Yeah, look, it's probably got a bit better. They might say they had a couple through COVID that they lost as well, but we're going to go with that. We thought we were a little bit better on the day.
I read with interest where that said nice to see St Brendan's back in the winning list, if you like. But you haven't been. There was a break there somewhere with you blokes. Is that right? You've only just come back into the competition. Yeah.
Yeah. 2019 we really struggled for numbers and financially. So unfortunately we had to have the year off. A few guys went and played for other clubs, but yeah.
Other Gaelic clubs.
Yeah, other Gaelic clubs. Yeah. Helped them get up off the bottom and play some finals, which was good for them. But then we decided, core group of 6 of us, really wanted to get the club back up and running for those in the past that did the hard yards, and yeah, we're lucky enough to get some.
Players back that, that have left.
All of them. So all of them that played at other clubs came back, and then yeah, really hard to get probably another 15 new players into the club.
What made you, in particular, turn to Gaelic football? Was it me? Did I force you to go?
No. But it was.
You were a Cove player. You were a footballer.
Certainly was a Cove footballer, and that sort of was the building block. Was I got a bit lazy and pre-season training was a bit hard, so easy to get a couple of extra training sessions. Play on a Wednesday and play on the 15s on a Friday night was 2 easy training sessions where you get to chase a ball rather than running around an oval.
Sure. Yeah.
Tell what you like about, what you both love about Gaelic football as opposed to Aussie rules footy. What is it that drew you back to it?
Well, at my age, it's that you don't get tackled, no jumping into your back, you don't get buried into the ground, so you can sort of recover a lot easier.
That's a fair
less taxing.
Did you have a background in?
Yeah, a bit of basketball, bit of footy, those sorts of things. But that's probably a good thing about the sport. It acclimatises, soccer, footy, round ball. So if you've got some basketball sort of skills, etc., anyone across those sort of things sort of can pick the game up pretty easily. But obviously the biggest component is being able to kick the round ball, where we see, we've had like high level football players come for our side and other sides, SANFL league players, etc. And some of them just can't play because they just can't grasp the round ball. Well, you have some, a couple of guys you never hear of that played a bit of soccer or basketball, and they pick it up straight away because they can just pick up the round ball. So
what made you start though? How did you get your start? You're playing Aussie rules, and then tomorrow you're playing Gaelic footy. Who got you? Someone must have been in your ear.
Yeah, so just a couple of mates who I was playing at Happy Valley Football Club at the time. So, a couple of mates went out and watched them, and, every club's always looking for a couple more extra numbers, so that got a few of us involved. And it's probably a good thing about the sport is that it seems to be a lot footy orientated. So you've got great Southern boys in one club, Southern Football League in other A1, A2 clubs. But, everyone's always looking to grow, but, there's some good camaraderie against guys who are normally opponents during the year in footy, come together as teammates.
Mate, you talked about getting all the boys back to play footy. Is there starting to grow? Is Gaelic footy starting to grow here in South Australia? Or it's still hard work, still in the teething?
Oh, it's really hard work. We did go through a stage where we had a lot of Irish immigrants that made it a lot easier. You had the Irish playing. But now that they've dropped off again, it's really difficult. I think the hardest thing is getting the footballers and soccer players to understand that the commitment's not as huge as your normal sport, so it's a good way to socialise and have a bit of fun while still being able to keep fit.
And what about the travel, mate? You got to play Western Ireland. That's a bit expensive.
It can be tough, but that could be a bit of a hindrance. We're based out of St Mary's, so the really, really old Panther Park, now home of Kenilworth. but we're out of that sports precinct because it doesn't have a cricket pitch, etc. So we can use that all year round. But for some of the northern-based teams, it's probably a little bit difficult to do a 45-minute round trip to play each weekend. For us, based down south, it's pretty much perfect.
And the name, where do they come from? I mean, where does St Brendan's come from? What is that?
Great question. No, it's already existed. It was already existed when I was there. It's a fantastic question. Probably should know it, but I'll have to get back to you on that one.
It's obviously an Irish.
They have some Irish connotation to it. Yeah, it's not too hard to go with Western Ireland where that one came from, is it? But there is a bonus in your playing. I mean, they have the World, Gaelic Games 2019. They're in Ireland, so there is not just to play here. You can play around the world with it as well.
Yeah. So even the Australasian Championships. So I've been lucky enough. I've played in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland. Played in New Zealand. And I actually went to Ireland in the World Games. Yep. So yeah, look, it's those things. There's no way in the world in any other sport I'd have the ability to do it, but because there's less people in the Gaelic, you're able to get those opportunities. Yeah. Just they live and breathe it in Ireland.
In Ireland, what's it like around the rest of Australia? Is there one spot where you thought Gaelic football? I would imagine Melbourne's probably pretty big.
Both Melbourne and Sydney, they're the two big ones.
Yep.
When they play each other, Victoria and New South Wales, it's amazing to watch. It's similar to county. I'm not going to say it's as good as county in Ireland because it's not, but it's as close as you'll see in Australia. They're really solid units.
But interestingly, if you go to the national championships, every other club, it's all Irish. You won't hear an Aussie accent out there. Well, South Australia, we're pretty much predominantly all the South Australian guys trying to get the game off the ground and learn it and build it up from scratch with just pure, Aussie boys playing it for the first time. So we find it a little bit difficult when we go over to the state championships because they play in winter. It's their key sport.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's coming out of footy or soccer that plays in our team. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Island boys, are they all mostly Aussies or are they?
Yeah, they're all from Wollonga and Brighton and Sacred Heart sort of affiliated.
How many teams currently in your league? Six.
Yep.
Okay. So just go back quickly to 2019, to the Worlds. How many games do you play? How's it run? Over a fortnight, over 3 weeks?
It was only over a week.
Yep.
And we played, I think, 6 pool games.
Wow.
A quarter final, and then lost the semi-final to New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah. They ended up winning it. So they were pretty good. But I remember I was 39 at the time, stood a 19-year-old kid, and just had awesome ball skills and could run, and there was no keeping up.
We've now got 3 names. We've got New York. We've got you guys, St Brendan's. We've got Western Ireland. What about the others? Give me some more names here.
There's Nafina, that's a strong Irish club.
Who is it?
Nafina.
Okay.
We've also got Onkaparinga that play, so that's not as Irish. That's just
very boring.
Yeah, it's just puts the river down south. And Flinders O'Neill and Irish Australians. So they've got a boot in each camp, really.
All right. So what happens next year, boys? So are we back to back? Are we retain the whole team? Will the St Brendan's boys be as strong next season as this season?
I think we'll probably improve.
Yeah, that's the plan. We need a big key midfielder. So if you get someone on the shows looking to play.
You want to get Port Adelaide, mate, other than yourself? I mean, I saw you flex back there for a minute and I thought you kept yourself, but...
that was just to ease my sore back.
He said soccer players and basketball. He's never mentioned cricketers once, mate, as being any good coming into Gaelic footy. Can you recruit a couple of guys? Can you feel like you've identified an area to continue? Do you target anyone for that? Try and get them out of the Southern Footy League?
We've certainly got some irons in the fire. There was a couple of young lads who were keen to play during this season, and a car accident sort of set him back. So hopefully Geordie gets out and has a run for us. And every year we have prod at Justin Westhoff because he would be ideal. But at the moment he doesn't seem to be too interested.
So we've got a guy sitting there watching now. He's thinking this might be okay. Where does he go? Where does he get in touch with? How does he get in touch with you guys?
We'll probably go through the Facebook page of the South Australian Gaelic Association.
Okay.
So if you just search South Australian Gaelic, that will come up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you just look on the socials for St Brendan's, if tickles the fancy, wants to come to the reigning premiers, then we can always find a spot for a 6'4" midfielder.
There you go. Now, mate, the Irish are notorious for being great drinkers. We know that, and funny men. After the celebration, you're saying you're mainly Aussie guys, but a few quiet ales after the game? At the Alma, obviously.
The Alma.
At the Alma, we did hit the Alma up on Saturday night as well, actually. We're notorious, the St Brennans, for being the last to leave after every game. It's not uncommon for us to leave the club sometime between 1 and 2 in the morning. So, yeah, we certainly like to get into the Irish heritage and
Love the
put it
dedication.
away. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew and Craig, really appreciate your time coming in. Well done on winning the grand final, boys, of the Gaelic footy. Stay with us. Still, a bit more to come on.